hop on the email and drop us a line inside story@aljazeera.net. I'm Kamal Santamaria from the whole team. Goodbye for now.
Business Latest is brought to you by Catalum, the most efficient and environmentally friendly aluminium smelter. Business Latest is brought to you by Catalum, the most efficient and environmentally friendly aluminium smelter.
All sides, all views, all ways. Al Jazeera.
A story of a land that never stops from giving its children hidden treasures. We foster innovation and create bonds between people, between nations. Nurturing the land under a ceiling of durable love. Fulfilling every generation's needs and thrive to cherish them. We help building skills and are proudly part of building our nation. From the mysteries of the desert to the wide open seas, with never-ending stories to be told, creating bonds of life and preserving it. Capco. In just about everything.
If you're a Nokia user, you can download Al Jazeera's news widget from Nokia's Ovis store. The news widget, available on compatible Nokia devices, gives users quick and easy access to real-time news updates from Al Jazeera English. See the world in real time. Al Jazeera Mobile.
This is Al Jazeera.
Good to have you with us. Warm welcome to this news hour, coming to you live from Doha with me, David Foster, and from Al Jazeera's headquarters here in Doha, and from our news centres in Washington and London. Live and extensive coverage of the uprising in Libya. Night falls and the freedom flags fly. The people of Benghazi say they'll take the fight to Gaddafi.
I'm Nick Clark with reaction from Washington.
In the years ahead, Libya could become a peaceful democracy, or it could face protracted civil war, or it could descend into chaos.
The US says Libya's fate hangs in the balance, but what concrete new action is it considering?
I'm Stephen Cohen in London with all the news from Europe, including a military build-up in the Mediterranean as Western leaders consider possible moves against Gaddafi.
Yeah, live immediately to Washington, D.C., the White House briefing room, and Mr. Obama's press secretary, Jay Carney.
Former Governor Bush, rather, was committed and remains committed to bipartisan education reform. The president is as well. He's looking forward to that visit. I'd also just like to inform you that the president, about 40 minutes ago, made a phone call to Speaker of the House, John Boehner, to discuss the progress being made on the negotiations for a continuing resolution. It was about a 10 to 12-minute phone call, a good phone call, and you will ask, but I will not divulge any more details about that phone call, but I just wanted you to know that that had taken place. Let's start with questions. Ben.
Thanks, Jay. Two topics quickly. On the spending standoff you just mentioned there, the House is moving ahead with this 2-week stopgap bill. Is the White House engaged at all in trying to prevent this from becoming a 2-week after 2-week cycle where the government stays afloat but there's really no long-term continuity? What's the White House doing, if anything, about that?
Well, the White House is obviously engaged at various levels, including at the presidential level, as I just noted. We believe some progress has been made. We believe that there is a focus in Congress now on cuts that we all can agree on. The President, as you know, is committed to reducing spending, as he made clear with his 2012 budget proposal, and as he has made clear, and as you know, in these negotiations on the continuing resolution, that he is committed to spending cuts. We can agree on those. We also believe that this process should be one in which we are there is enough time allowed for all sides to come together to reach an agreement.
Right, what we're going to do is leave Jay Carney there. We will be monitoring it off camera to see when he addresses events in North Africa. In the meantime, we're going to talk about what's happening at the United Nations. Warning of a growing crisis in Libya. It says more than 140,000 people have now fled the uprising. World leaders have been stepping up their rhetoric against Muammar Gaddafi, saying he has to step down. And then they say they're expanding their options. These include more shows of force. Well, on the ground in Libya, still very volatile, to say the least, in AlJazeera. A rebel army officer there says military units are preparing to launch an attack against troops still loyal to Gaddafi. In the western town of Zintan, there are reports that Gaddafi's forces are planning to retake. And in the east, in Benghazi, protesters say they will keep up their fight. It's to Benghazi we go. Tony Burley joins us from that city. Still celebrating, I suppose, Tony, but do they know what tomorrow might bring or not?
No, that's the big question. What will tomorrow bring? I mean, they're celebrating now every evening. They congregate here. This is kind of the heart, if you like, of the revolution. They're coming out with their flags and their victory songs and their poems, and they're very much in a mood of jubilation. But there's a tinge of reality to all this. Where are we heading? What is going to happen? Gaddafi is not finished. He's not leaving. They're aware of that. And while there's not much of a threat on the ground here, there is a threat from the air. So the people here are listening very carefully to this talk about the air exclusion zone. That would give them added protection and would take away the remaining threat. So what will tomorrow bring? We've got sort of committees being formed here. We've got talks of defence. We've got talks about people going and marching on Tripoli, which is easier said than done. What lies before them is something like 4,000 well-trained, well-armed Gaddafi loyal troops, and they're based in his hometown of Sitra, and there's a problem there. So how do you get through that without bloodshed? They're hoping, I think, that Gaddafi sees sense in the end and leaves peacefully, but at the moment, anything can happen.
Yeah, if he did see sense, Tony, a lot of people would think that would be the first time. Let me just read to you and to our viewers what the head of CENTCOM, General James Mattis, said about a no-fly zone, because the people of Benghazi and other Libyan cities have got to be aware of what might be coming. He said this to Congress a short while ago. It would be challenging. You would have to remove the air